Okay, so hello everyone. This is my fifth demo of the Java Spring Boot internship, and today I will be walking through the PayPal transaction reconciliation microservice, which is in our PayPal processing service. Okay, this microservice is responsible for automatically resolving the status of payments that are left in intermediate state, that is pending or approved. Okay, so let's go to our notepad. We will be discussing this Recon DB in just a second. First, we will be taking important notes in order to get started. Okay, so what is basically the Recon service? It's basically a service which is used to automatically resolve the status of payments that are left that are left in intermediate states like pending or approved. Okay, so this is our basic recon service. Okay, and further we will be talking about various annotations also, which are used in Spring Boot for various tasks which are performed in parallel. We the first annotation is async. Okay, this is a enabled service, okay, called recon async. Okay, this is the recon async. Okay, which is used to which is used to process each transaction concurrently. Okay, as I said, um, multiple transactions are there in the database, so every transaction has to be handled separately, and every transaction must be handled concurrently. Okay, so basically, let's say if everything is working. Yeah, everything is working. So we will open this and we will go to the code straight away. We will see the PayPal provider handler. Okay, this is the main business logic. Okay, of our pay processing service. Okay, PayPal processing service. Okay, this is the PayPal provider handler recon transaction class. Okay, this method fetches the latest order status from PayPal and decides the next step and conditionally calls the capture order if the payment is already approved. Okay. But if it is not approved, the payment will be marked as failed. Why so? Because here we wrote that Recon service automatically resolves the status of payments that are left in intermediate status like pending or approved. Okay. If the payment is left as pending, so Recon will basically mark it as a failure. Okay, because the transaction was not approved. Okay, so let's move forward. This is the PayPal provider handler, as I talked about. The main business logic is here. Okay, so there are particular many cases here, like if the status is payer action required. Okay, then we have this logger statement, and we need not perform any actions because the status is payer action required. So we just skip the transaction. Okay, so no action is required there. Okay, so now if the status is approved, we have to check for the pending and approved only. Okay, okay. So if the PP order capture response has a capture, okay, if the transaction has been captured, okay, so we will mark it as a success or completed state. Okay, if the transaction, if we will first we will call the capture API. Okay, and if the capture API is called and it gives the status as completed, then we will turn the status as success. Okay. In the approved case, if the capture API returns completed, we can write it here. Okay. In the approved case, if the capture API returns completed, we can say we can mark the transaction as success. Okay. So this case is written in the PayPal provider handler. Okay. So we can mark it as success. Okay. Else, we can say that it's not completed and it will wait for the next recon cycle. Okay. And for the recon cycle to be working as expected, first we will go. We have set up this recon cycle for at max three retry counts. Okay. This is the basic logic. Okay. Which we have set up for our recon service. Okay. So this is the pair action required. We skip it. In the pair action required, we skip it. In the approved state, we call the capture order. If it gets completed, we mark it as success. Else, we mark it as a failure. Okay. And when it is completed, we will mark it as success. It's pretty straightforward. Okay. Else, if any thing is broken down in the system, we will just throw an exception while saying is exception while processing is true. Okay? And this exception is handled using these logics. Okay. And thus, when these things happen, we simultaneously update the transaction DAO for the recon and we update the database. Okay. This is the DB call. If initial transaction status is not is equal to current transaction status, then we should update the database. Okay. Transaction status means if it is showing something like pending or approved, like let's just write it down here. Okay. So let's suppose we have a pending state. Okay. In the DB, and while code is executed, the transaction state has been marked as a failure. Okay. So these two values are not equal, right? So we will update this in the DB. Okay. This is what this line is suggesting. Okay. No, sorry. This line is suggesting. Okay. We change the initial status to get transaction status. Okay. And we update it straight to the database. And here it is the basic logic. If the transaction dot get retry count is greater than equal to 0, then we update the transaction as failed. Like I demonstrated you earlier, we are trying it at max 3 retry count. Okay. Only 3 retry counts are allowed. Else, the retry counts are more than 3. We will mark it as a complete failure. Okay. Let's just check if everything is working correctly here. Okay. Let's move forward. Okay. So this is the basic overall structure of the PayPal provider handler class. Okay. And here are some basic PP get order helper and PP capture order helper classes. These are basically used to prepare and handle PayPal API requests. This allows separation of concerns. Okay. So basically, these are just capturing the API calls and just converting it into Java object. And we have discussed everything in the PayPal provider service. Okay. These code snippets are from that class only. Okay. Same. The HTTP service engine is also implemented. Here we can go here. Yeah, here they are. These codes are self-explanatory. We have discussed it in the PayPal provider service only. These are the same class. We have just copy pasted and inherited it in the PayPal processing service. So no need to discuss this part. Okay. So we have discussed about the overall functioning of the PayPal provider handler. Okay. So now we will be moving towards the processing service exception. Okay. No, first let's just talk about this recon. Where is the recon service class? Okay, here it is. No, no, no. We need not. Okay, yeah. Let's just talk about the transaction DAO IMPL. Okay. Okay. Let's just talk about it now. So in the transaction DAO IMPL, we have to load the transaction for recon. Okay. In order to load the transaction, we have set the database. Okay. And now we will look how we are loading the transaction for the pending and approved state. Okay. So in the transaction DO IMPL, we have this select statement which says that, just a second. Yeah, the select statement which says that select star from payments transactions plus where transaction ID in status on status 2 and retry count is max retry. Okay, max retry is basically we said that it is 3 for our case. Okay, okay. So what this select statement will do is that it will fetch the transactions from the database, only those transactions which have the status as pending or approved. We have status 1 and status 2 written right over here. Okay. So this is the pending and approved status. Okay. So yeah, this is basically um, the main responsibility of this class is to load the pending approved transactions with retry count less than equal to max. Not less than equal to, is just less than max. Okay. Update transaction status in the DB after recon. Okay. Uses name parameter JDBC template. Okay. Yeah, here it is. It uses the name parameter JDBC template in order to connect to the database. Okay. Now, this is the overall structure of the transaction DO IMPL. We just removed this. We have discussed about PayPal provider handler.java also. Okay. Now let's focus on the PP get order helper class. Okay. As it's basically suggesting that it builds a get request to PayPal's get order API. Okay. And parses successful response to the BP order. Okay. Everything the same as the PayPal provider service only. It fetches the data from the get order API and just passes it to the PP order. Okay. Same goes for the capture order also. So let's not talk about that. Okay. And we have various HTTP service engine class also here. This is a central class to make HTTP calls to PayPal using a REST template or web client. Okay. This is just used for making the HTTP calls. Okay. Like we discussed in the PayPal provider service. Okay, let's go down to the processing service exception.java class. Okay, now what this class does is it holds extra information, that is error code, error message, and HTTP status. What we want to display to the database. Okay, it holds those values used in helper classes to bubble up meaningful errors. Okay, so this is the basic overview of this entire application. Uh, this is the recon async class. Okay. This is used for async communications, like uh, multiple transactions are working parallelly. Okay. So it is used to uh, update those transactions also. Okay. We have talked about the async annotation also here. It enables service called Recon async, which is used to process each transaction concurrently. Okay. We have multiple transactions in the database. So every transaction should be processed concurrently. Okay. So this was our overall logic. Okay, let's move forward. Everything is working well. Okay, now this is the recon service class. Okay, we have a annotation at the rate scheduled, and we have this sort of structure. Okay, let's just copy it. This is a cron expression. Okay, we will be talking about the cron expression now. So now this is the cron expression. Okay, okay, this. Now what it says that this cron expression, according to this code, runs every 10 minutes. Okay, this cron expression runs every 10 minutes. Okay, and and what it does is that it marks every, it monitors that it monitors all pending and approved transactions. Okay. This is the major function of the cron expression. Basically, this is the seconds, this is minutes, hours, days, months, years. This is the basic expression written in form of cron expressions. Okay. Okay. This is basically the cron expression. Okay. So we have set it as 10 minutes. We will just reduce the time. So in order to test everything, we have to reduce the 10 minutes to, I guess, 1 minute or 1.5 minutes. We don't know. For every 10 minutes, we will just change it to every minute. Okay. And then we will move forward. Okay. Everything is discussed also. Now let's move towards the payment method enum. It is used to just convert integer to string, and string to integer conversion is applicable in this method. And we have various other converters also, like payment method enum, we have discussed it, payment type enum, provider enum. These are basically just the conversions. Okay. We need not discuss it. Okay. So basically, we have discussed about the main classes of our processing service. Now we will set up the database, and then we will test various cases in order to see if our overall logic is working correctly or not. Okay. So in order to test the database, first we will have to look to various commands, that is DML and DDL scripts. These are written over here. Okay. These are the commands. We will just copy paste them and just in it with the get started with the overall testing of the database that are in pending or approved. So we have to see that what is the overall status of our application. So first we will just open the MySQL. Okay, we have to enter our password. Okay, we just enter it. Yeah, okay, it's working, I guess. Yeah, it's working. Okay, now we go to the debugger. Okay, here we are. We just close this. Okay, and okay, it's saying something. Okay, now we just control enter it. This is our basic database. Okay, now what is this? This is the transaction status. Okay, if we get some error code and error message, it will be displayed here. These are the max retry counts, that is equal to 3, and uh, these are our provider reference, which we will pass while we pass certain response IDs from the postman. Okay, we click on allow. Okay, if any response is created or anything is if any response is created or anything is will go wrong, we will get to know what is happening. Okay, so this is that processing recon API. Okay, we will pass the data through the provider service. We will hit this and we will see the response. Okay, so this is our basic overall logic. Yeah, our database is also working now. Okay, so yeah, I have prepared a list of cases also here, like test case scenario. If payment is pending in our DB, what will be the, but with PayPal completed? Okay, now we will test each required data. Okay, first, what we have to do is that we have to, okay, let's just not touch this as for now. Okay, let's go with the testing purpose. Okay, now we will start the testing. Okay, let's see if everything is working. Yeah, everything is working correctly. Okay, now let's go with the overall testing of our application. In order to test it, we have to just run both the services. Like PayPal provider service should also run. We run as Spring Boot app. Okay. The PayPal provider service is running. Okay. Now we just want to start the processing service also. Okay. We just right click, run as name and build. Okay. The processing service should be running also simultaneously. Clean Spring Boot colon run. Okay. Wait enter. Yeah, we we want the scheduler to be working every minute. Okay, so let's just do not save this as for now. We do not save it, and we just run the application. Okay, not every minute. We will just do it for, yeah. Let's just go with every minute only. Okay, let's shoot it again. We just refreshed it. Okay, yeah. So let's see. Our recon should be, what time is it right now? It's 17:50, 15, 11. Okay. So at 17:60, 16, it should be running again. But we have to look at it really carefully because both the transactions are in failed scenario. Nothing is pending or approved. Okay. We go back. This is also failed. This is also failed. And what about this? It's still pending. Okay. But we have no provider reference here. Okay. So it won't take it. Okay. So let's see if the scheduler if the scheduler runs properly. Yeah. See, the recon service is called. Okay. Everything is working. Yeah, the scheduler is running, but look at it really carefully. It's not picking any transactions as for now because both the transactions are in failed case in the database. Like you can see, these are 6 6. It's three, but we have no provider reference here. Okay, so it's not taking that as for now. Okay, so we will just change both these transactions and we will work on various edge cases now. Okay, let's just move forward. Okay, the scheduler will run every minute. Okay, we will not consider it now. Okay, we just go and just do it as every 2 minutes. Yeah, 2 minutes will be fine. We just update it so it does not run unnecessarily. Okay, so let's see if everything is working. Yeah, everything looks good. Now let's go in our notepad and the scheduler is working correctly. Now we will we will pass all the test cases uh, in our database as pending and let's see what is the expected outcome. Okay. Now let's see. We have a test case one which says that test scenario payment is pending in our database, but with PayPal completed. Okay. PayPal has completed the payment and okay. So let's just create this scenario in the third ID. Okay. Okay. What was this status? Let's see. It's pending. Okay. So three is pending. So we mark it as three. Our case is that payment is pending in our DB, but the PayPal says that it's completed. Okay. So payment is pending. Okay. We just remove this. We remove this. Okay. Payment is pending in the database. Retry count is also zero. Let's just wait. Okay. And now we will set up the provider reference also, which says that it's completed, but it's still pending here. Okay. So let's just do this now. We just go and say that it's 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes now. We go save. Okay. It will run in every 10 minutes. Okay. So let's just go to the postman and we create the order. Okay. We say that it's E and this is C. Let's shoot. Okay, here is the ID which we want to use as the get order. Okay, this is the ID which we have done this testing multiple times now. This is saying that it's in pair action required. Okay, we just move forward with our Chrome now. Okay, we Control Shift N and paste this into our sandbox account. We have to log in. Yes. So PayPal developer, we go in. Okay, we log in with our client credentials. Okay, 9. Okay, so we are here. We choose the sandbox account. Okay, we choose our sandbox account. And now what we have to do is to just copy paste our ID and password here. Okay, we just copy, we just paste here. Okay, now we are over here. Okay, now we have to, what was our case? We have to make make the status as completed and and in DB it's pending. Okay, so let's go. Let's go with this case only. Okay, so let's just complete the purchase only directly. The purchase is completed. Let's go back to the postman. Okay, let's go back to the postman and let's just see that if it's approved or not. Yeah, it's approved. Okay, let's just copy the ID only here. Control C. Let's just pass this ID here and click on send. Yeah, it's saying completed. Let's just get the order again. It's saying completed again. Let's go back to the database. Let's go back to the provider reference and we paste the provider reference here only and we do a control save. Okay. Now, as you can see, we have a retry count of one. I don't know why, because it was reinitializing because my transaction was of 2 minutes. Okay. Recon system was of 2 minutes. Okay. So we just do a save now. The retry count is 0. Okay. We have passed the provider reference. It is completed, but in the transaction status, it's still pending. Okay. So now we hit the recon. Okay. Just a second. Okay. Let's go back to the Spring Tool shoot. Okay. Now we go to the processing service, payment processing service. Okay. Okay. It updated the retry count. Okay. Okay, okay, everything is working. It says the resource not found because you know the provider ID was not correct. Okay, now we want to run it like this. Okay, we save this. Okay, let's just go back to the recon. Now we shoot the recon. Recon is triggered. Okay, let's see what happens now. Okay, and we will see all the necessary changes in the database. Okay, yeah, rows affected 1 and transaction ID is 3. Okay. Transaction ID is 3. One row is affected. Okay. It sees that one record is in pending state. Okay. As the status was 3. Okay. And now let's see what will happen in each minute. Okay. Now it says 0. Okay. Why it says 0? Okay. Let's go and see only. Control enter. Okay. Transaction ID is 5. See, the same transaction which we use here as a transaction provider reference. Okay. Transaction provider reference with retry count just incremented. Why? Because the status was completed, right? The status was completed, but in our database it was still pending. That is 3. But now the transaction status has been changed to 5. Let's just call the entire table now. Look at this. 5 is success. Okay. So it's working as expected. The scheduler is running every minute. Okay. And every transaction is being tested fairly. Okay. And yeah, this is working as expected. As the payment was completed, the pending transaction was changed to success with a retry count of 1. Okay. As shown here. Okay. So yeah, this is working fine. Okay, we just control C this. Okay, and we just paste it here. Okay, this was a completed case. Okay, so the first test case is completed. We have tested the entire first test case. Okay, Now we will move forward to the test case 2. When payment is updated as success, which it is, okay, look at it really carefully. The payment has been updated to as success, okay, here. And now what we are doing is, let's go back. We have to read our problem statement. When the payment is updated as success in the DB by recall, expectation next retry should not pick it up. Okay. Okay. Now let's see if the next, yeah, look at this. The recon, the scheduler is running again and again, and it every time says that it's the recon size is zero. Why? Because every transaction, this is success, this is failure. Okay, this is failure, this is success. Okay, so the scheduler is not picking these up because they are marked as success or failure. Nothing in the database is marked as pending or approved. The question may arise in your mind that this transaction that has the transaction status ID as 3 is still not being marked as pending or approved as success or failure because we haven't provided a provider reference only here. No? That's why the logic is not picking up this transaction from the database and it's not changing the values. Okay. So, yeah, our entire logic is working as expected. The transaction status that has 3 or 4 marked with it is being picked up. And we will check for max retry count, that is 3, and here the max retry count we have set it as 10, so that's why it's also not picking because the max retry count is only 10. Okay, so we have this exceptional case only. Okay, let's just keep it running and let's just go with the second logic. Okay, second test case. No, we have covered the second test case. We will move forward to the third test case now. Okay, both these test cases are working as expected. Okay, now our payment is pending. PayPal says payer action required. First retry attempt. Okay, test data. Okay, our payment is pending. Now it says payer action required. Okay, it says okay. Okay, let's go. We have to make certain modifications. What is our status in the database? It says that the status is pending. Okay, so let's go to the database. We go right over here. We do it as a 3. Okay, that is what? Okay, yes, it's pending. Okay, we have a status as pending in the database. Is 0. Okay, first we have to just quickly just make this as 10. Okay, so that it runs every 10 minutes. Okay, if it will, we have to make necessary adjustments in the database, and if it runs every 1 minute, okay, so the retry count will be keep on incrementing and our old logic fails. Okay, so we just marked it as 10 only here. Let's just update the database only from dweaver. Okay, now we have this retry count is set to 0. Okay, this transaction ID we will change. Just a second. We have this transaction status ID. Okay, results set for the, yeah, we have to save this. Okay, this is saying pending. Okay, pending and retry count as 0. Okay, now it's saying pending and retry count as 0. Okay, now PayPal says payer action required. Okay, now let's go to the postman. Okay, and just call the create order with a certain new ID. Let's just call it. Look at this. It's saying payer action required. Okay, we just take this. We just take this, go to the database, update this value here. Okay, save it. Okay, and now we will call the recall logic again. And then the scheduler will start again, and then we will see. We will not process anything. Okay, we will not process anything. And then we will just move forward. Okay, we should see that it should be marked as failure in 3 attempts because what we said here, we said that our max retry counts are 3. Okay, so we will wait for 3 rounds and then we will mark it as a failure because it says that it's in pair action required. Okay, this is our and smart test case in order to check if the failure scenario is handled correctly or not. Okay, this is saying that pending. Okay, now let's just go to the STS and just call it for a 1 minute. Okay, now control S. We just called it for 1 minute. Okay, let's just hit the recall logic and see if everything is working correctly or not. Okay, we go to the recall and just we shoot it. Okay, let's just check that if the create order says 146. Okay, let's just check if we provided the correct, yeah, 146. Okay, now we just call the recall and let's just see what happens. Okay, yeah, it's saying that it selected one transaction. Yeah, it's saying that one row has, yeah, look at this. ID 3, user 103 has a pending. Yeah, ID 3, user 103 has a pending status. Okay, so it selected this third entire row and it's working on that only. Okay, it's working on that logic. And let's just see that. Yeah, look at it. Just look at it. Sorry. Retry count is 3. Error message has been thrown. Error code has been thrown. Provider reference is given. This is the advantage of async communication. Okay. So we got the correct response. Okay. Let's just go to the database. We use the ID 3 and we shoot. Okay. Now see, look at this. Transaction status is failed. Okay. Because it wasn't pair action required. We didn't do anything. Okay. And look at this. We got the error code, we got the error message, and retry count is set to as max retry count, that is 3. So this case is also handled correctly in the database, and everything is working fine. So first, we talked about this scenario working well. This scenario is also working well, and this scenario is also working well. On first retry, the retry count incremented. On second retry, also retry count incremented. And on third retry count, the status was marked as, on third retry count, the status was marked as failed. Look at here. Yeah, it is marked as failed in the database. Now it's marked as failed. So let's just do a control enter. Yes, look at this. This is marked as failed. Everything is marked as failed. Let's just go and see. Yeah, just look at it. It's saying recon.size 0 because everything is marked as failed. So it's not taking any transaction for further processing. Okay. So let's move forward. So now we will be discussing on later other test cases now. Okay, we have completed it till here. Now let's go to the case number 4. We have 3 more cases after it. Okay, let's just quickly cover everything. Okay, now case 4 scenario. Our status is pending. PayPal status says pair action required. Retry 1, 2, and on 3 get exception. Okay, only DB increment happens. Status should be like earlier. Retry 3 exception cases by killing PayPal provider service. Okay, what this if exception happens in retry 1 or 2, only increment DB, retry DB value. Okay, if retry has hit max 3, then recon should not load if the transaction from DB, even though the status is pending. Okay, now let's check this one. If the case 7 pending, PayPal says approved, pending payer action required. DB to increment, complete payment or hosted page approved. Okay, and this is get captured. Okay, so let's go here. We have a scheduler also implemented now. So this will just kill everything. Okay, we just comment this out. We think it will work fine if we just comment. Okay. Yeah. Now we can test it completely because we have commented the scheduler only out. Okay. So let's test for these kind of scenarios. Let's go back. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What this says is our status is pending. Okay. Let's just modify the database. On the user ID 3 only we are doing it. We change the status as 3. Okay. We remove the error code and error message. Okay. Remove this. Okay. And we do this retry count also as 0. Okay. Retry count is also 0. We remove the error code and error message and we mark the status as pending. Okay. Now, what what the other problem statement says that our status is pending. PayPal is saying payer action required. Okay. We have got the payer action required status also here. Yeah, here it is. It says payer action required only right now. Okay. Now, what this wants is, okay, we retry for 1, 2, and when we retry for 3, we should get exception. Okay. Expected only database increment should happen. Status should not be like earlier. Okay. Retry 3 exception cases by killing PayPal providers. Oh, okay, okay. We have to just hit the recon only. Let's just hit the recon 2 times. Let's go. We hit the recon once. Okay, let's see if this is triggered. Okay, this is the async task only. Let's go. Yeah, retry count is 1. Nothing is generated in the error message, and the status is still pending. Okay, the status is still pending. Just a second. Yeah, we can see the status is still pending and retry count is 1. Okay, let's just call the recall logic again. Okay, we should again. Okay, now the status should be 2 and it should be again in pending state only. Okay, it's still in pending state and retry count should be 2. Yeah, it's in 2. Okay, now we have to create an exception only here. Okay, so what we will do is that we will go to the PayPal provider create order and we just close this. Okay, we have close the PayPal create order functionality only, PayPal provider service only, and let's see what happens now. Okay, we will call this shoot. Okay, and we see updated transaction has been done. Okay, status is what? Let's see. Status is still pending and retry count is 3. Okay, so what we have expected has been achieved, I guess. Okay, by killing the PayPal provider service. Okay, what what will happen? Only DB increment should happen. This is expected. Okay, only DB increment should happen. Status should be like earlier. Okay, as we can see that status is still pending, as we can see. Okay, just a second. Status is still pending. Only DB increment happened. Okay, so it's working as expected. We just need the PayPal provider service only. Okay, so this is the exception and it's working as expected only. Okay, so nothing is breaking down in our project. Now we will discuss about the case 5 now. If exception happens in retry 1 or 2, only increment DB retry value. Okay, let's just create this again. Okay, let's just create this again. So let's call this first. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, this is still saying pending and retry count is 3. Okay, now let's just create the retry count as 1. Okay, retry count is set to 1. Transaction status is still pending. 146 is the provider reference. Okay, and let's shoot this. Okay, we call this. Yeah, retry count is still 2. In the second attempt, like the case 5 said, okay, like in case if it says that if exceptions happen in retry 1 or 2, only increment the DB retry value. Okay, it was saying 1 and we pass the hit the again. Okay, it was in still pending state only. It's still in pending state. The status is not changed, but the retry count is incremented as we can see in this. Okay, now we will go back to the STS. Yeah, goodness. Retry count is 2. Transaction status is still in pending state. Okay, so this case is also covered. Now let's move forward to the next case. Okay, what this says is if retry count has hit max 3, then recon should not load the transaction from the DB. Okay, even though status is pending or up. Okay, we can say that we can test this right here only. Okay, the transaction status is still where it is. Just a second. Where is the transaction status? Yeah, it's here. It's still saying pending only. Okay, we go back. The retry count is 2. Okay, let's just okay, what was it saying? Let's just go back. If the retry count is at maximum 3, then recon should not load the transaction from database. Okay, let's just make this as 3 only right now. Okay, we give an enter. Okay, so now it's 3. Okay, now let's just go to the STS and see. Yeah, it was still loading one transaction because the max retry count was 2 and now it is 3. And now if we call, the transaction should not be loaded. Okay, so let's just call it because the retry count is now updated to 3. Okay, so it should not load the transaction if we call it. So let's just call it. If we go back to this, yeah, you can see this clearly. It's not loading from the database. The transaction has been not loaded from the database and everything is working as expected. Okay, so this case is also covered. We have covered all the 6 cases. Now this is our final case, case 7. Pending is our DB state. Paper says that it's approved. Okay. Retry count we DB increment. Okay. Okay. It's saying pending. Paper says approved. Paper says approved. Okay. Okay. So get order should say that the status is approved. Okay. And we have a pending status. Okay. Let's just update this. We will do the modifications on this only. Let's just do a 0. Okay, provider reference will stay as it is. So transaction status ID is still in. Yes, we will save the changes only. Yeah, it's still in pending state. Okay, this is these both are still out. Says 0. Okay, so now we will call everything. Okay, let's just call it. Let's see if everything is working. Yeah, everything is working. Okay, so what was our case? This was our create order. Okay, create order ID. Let's see if this only is passed in the database. 146. We change this. Save this. Okay. The provider reference has been passed. Okay. Now let's go back to the post. We get this order now. Okay, we said. Okay. Okay. The PayPal provider service is not up and running. Okay. So let's just run as Spring Boot app. Now it will work correctly. Okay. Let's just call it. Yeah, it's still saying pair action required only. Then we get the order. Okay. We created the order, we get the order. Okay. Now PayPal provider service is also running. Okay. So now we have to mark the status as approved. Okay. Pending, pair action required. Okay. Let's just, okay. Actually, the latest status is approved in payment track. Okay. Okay. Let's just do this like this. First, we will call the recon service. Okay. We shoot. Recon is triggered. Okay. The status should be changed to retry count as 1. Okay. Yeah. It's saying for ID 3, user ID 103, APM PayPal. Yeah. Status is pending. Okay. No error code error message. The status is pending. And it's saying the retry count is 1. It's going back again and again. Retry count is still 1. Okay. So the first cycle is done. Okay, now what we have to do in the second cycle. In the second retry, customer completes the payment on the hosted page and gets approved. Okay, so let's complete the payment now. Okay, let's go to the get order. Let's follow this URL also. That we'll see. We go back to our phone. Go here. Yes. Okay, by just a second. We go here. We do this. Okay, we want to log in with log in here. Why it's giving use password instead. Okay, we want to log in with password. Okay, so let's go and get the password from here. This is my password. We log in. Okay, it's saying it's showing this. We click on the complete purchase payment. We get to this redirect URL only. And what it's saying, the payment should be approved. Okay. Now let's just call the capture API, I guess. Yeah, we should call the capture API. In retry to invoke capture order API. If it's PayPal completed, update your transaction with implementing retry count. Okay. So we have to first call the get order. It's saying approved. We copy this. We go here. We pass this here. Okay. Now what it's saying that we call the recon. Okay. Let's just call the recon only right now. Okay. It should still be saying that retry count should be okay. Rows affected one. It's just completed and said that the initial status was pending and the get transaction status is successful. Okay. So yeah, I guess it's working well. Okay, let's see what happened here. No error code error message. Yeah, the retry count was one. Okay, let's see here what happened. Yeah, transaction was updated to 5 and yeah, retry count was also updated to 2. Okay, so yeah, everything is still working well. Okay, we in retry 2, we invoked the capture order API. Yeah, look at this. We invoked the capture order API. Okay, and while the status was still approved, look at this. We can see the logs also here. PayPal status was still approved. Okay. And while we called the recon logic, it was saying that the status was still approved. And then the initial status was still pending. It was somewhere here only. Let me see. I saw it somewhere here. Okay. This was the response. Okay. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, initial status was still pending, but when it was approved, it says that it was success. Okay. Okay, so one row was affected with transaction ID 3, and we can see that the transaction ID 3 says that the transaction status ID is converted to success. Okay. And the retry count is incremented by 1. It was 1, it turned to 2. Okay, let's just update the transaction. Okay, so yeah, it says success. Okay. So we discussed all the 7 edge cases, all the 7 test cases in this video. We called certain logics from Postman. We saw the logs in STS. We tested every endpoint in the database. We got certain error code error message for failure. It was marked as success. It was marked as failures also. And nothing in the database is left as pending or approved unless retry count is less than 3. So yeah, the basic debugging of the PayPal processing service is successful. In this video, we talked about various annotations. We talked about various async process. We talked about multi-threading. Okay. We talked about PayPal provider handler. Okay. how it handles various operations in the database. Okay. We talked about this switch case block and what happens when the transaction is pair action required, if it is approved, if it's completed. Okay. We talked about various helper classes also. And we talked about scheduler also. Okay, let's just comment this. Okay. And we call it again. Okay. Now, if everything, we can see that everything is success or failure only, right here. Yeah, it's failure and it's success. 5 and 6 are success and failure. Okay, so we talked about scheduler also in this video. Okay, so we discussed a lot of things in this video and we tested various test cases also. We discussed 7 to 8 test cases. Okay, in the Recon DB. We talked about DML DDL scripts also. Okay, and this was our basic notes which we made from this reference. Okay, yeah, it started again. It's working fine. Now we just set it 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes it will input. Okay, yeah, it didn't pick any transaction because the database had 6 and 5. These both are already failure and success. Okay, so yeah, we talked about various things, various implementations in the paper processing service. And after I finish recording this video, I can definitely say that the PayPal processing service is completed the end-to-end functionalities in this video. And yeah, things are working as expected. Okay. So this was it for today's demo. I I think you enjoyed it. Okay. We discussed various concepts, various edge cases, various test cases for success and failure handling in processing service. Okay. And this was it for today's demo. And I will see you in the next one. Thank you.